In the past 6 months, the Indian Ocean island Sri Lanka has become an altogether different country. And while the data and surveys might have put it at a better position in happiness indices, the pictures at ground speak in stark contrast. The protracted anti-government protests have entered another week, with people intensifying their demands for the president's resignation. The crises have also ushered in a new lifestyle for people who have ditched their bikes and cars and have picked bicycles to commute to their offices.
Hundreds of Buddhist monks held a peaceful protest in Sri Lanka's commercial capital Colombo and vowed not to leave until the government of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is thrown out. The monks gathered outside the main railway terminal and walked to nearby Buddhist temple where they held a peaceful protest. Earlier, they held placards demanding the government implement the proposals of the chief monks of the 4 main Buddhist chapters.
සතියක් ඇතුළතදී මහානායක හමුදුරන් වහන්සේලාගේ ඒ යෝජනාවලිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීමේ ප්‍රවේශයක් හෝ ලබා නොගන්නේ නම් අපි කොළඹට එනවා හැබැයි එන්නේ ආපහු යන්න නෙවෙයි නන්දසේන රාජපක්ෂ ඇතුළු මේ හොර නඩය එළවලා යන්නයි අපි ඉන්නේ කියන කාරණාවක් මතක් කළා.
Economic mismanagement and the aftermath of COVID-19 have left the cash-strapped country of 22 million people unable to pay for essential imports of food, fertilizer, medicines and fuel because of a severe dollar crunch. Inflation reached 54.6% in June as the Indian Ocean nation battles its worst economic crisis in decades. And the central bank is expected to raise rates at its next policy announcement. Speaking after a recent visit by an IMF delegation, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe outlined a roadmap in Parliament to chart a way out of the crisis. However, this hasn't been able to cool down the tempers of common people. In a separate incident, hundreds of protesters gathered near the Parliament building were hit with water cannons and tear gas as they launched what they called the final push of the struggle to topple the government of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The protests have been led by young people and supported by opposition political parties, trade union and civil society activists and ordinary civilians. The government seems to have exhausted all available options but has failed to bring the crisis under control. People continue to face the pain of hours-long queues. However, in such a situation, there are also people who have switched to a completely different mode of lifestyle. Throwing a backpack over his shoulders and a helmet over his head, 41-year-old Tusheta Kahaduwa hops onto his bicycle to pedal off to work through the chaotic streets of Colombo. Tusheta Kahaduwa is among thousands of Sri Lankans who are ditching their vehicles at home and switching to bicycles to commute and go about their daily lives since the cash-strapped country was hit with a crippling fuel shortage, resulting in long lines at petrol stations.
පෝලිං වල ඉඳලා පෝලිං පෙට්‍රල් එන ආරංචි බලලා එතකොට අර WhatsApp group බලලා එහෙම ගොඩක් try කරා මේ පෙට්‍රල් ගහගෙන මේ පුරුවන් තරම් පෙට්‍රල් ඒත් කොහොම පරිස්සමට පාවිච්චි කරගෙන දුවන්න බැලුවා. ඒක ප්‍රැක්ටිකල් වැඩක් නෙමෙයි. ඉතින් පෙට්‍රල් පෝලිමක් ගිහිල්ලා ඉස්සෙල්ලාම පැය 2යි 3යි ඊට පස්සේ පැය 4යි 6යි 8යි ඊට පස්සේ අන්තිමට මම දැන් සති 2කට 3කට ඉස්සෙල්ලා පෝලිමක හිටියා දවස් 3ක්.
Amidst the fuel shortage-inspired two-wheel frenzy, bicycle shop owners appear to be the only people who are having a good time as their stocks are running out like never before. Experts, however, say that this might be a good step towards people's health, but this is not a voluntary step and the country has to come out of the crisis in order to achieve some real growth. Sri Lanka hasn't received new fuel shipments in about 2 weeks, and the government to date hasn't announced when new stocks will arrive. Faced with severely depleted petrol and diesel stocks, the government last week closed schools, asked public employees to work from home, and started rationing fuel to essential services. Sri Lanka will present its debt restructuring plan to the International Monetary Fund in August to push forward talks to lock in a $3 billion bailout package. However, the country's financial woes are expected to take time to resolve, as they will involve structural changes to put public finances and debt sustainability back on track.